Sorry Letizia, but going gray just says a woman has given up. Krista de Souza sounds a warning after Spain's queen sported a startling silver streak. My goodness, Queen Letizia of Spain, 50, is beautiful. That skin. That figure. And that hair, luscious and brown and now with a single gray streak running down one side. Although on the hair front, if I may be so bold, Your Majesty, are you sure you're okay with the gray? I know it's become a thing, the whole #GrayHairDon'tCare movement, and I know we all want to be our authentic, natural selves, but does it actually look better? And if I may be even bolder, what are your other half's thoughts on the subject? I'm only asking the question because when I decided to embrace the gray, my other half wasn't happy about it at all. Not that he dared tell me at the time. It was only after I'd gone back to myself, as he put it, when I caved in and started dyeing it ashy blonde just over a year ago, that he admitted how much he had hated it. And if I only had a $5 for every person who was with him on that, I would be a very rich woman now. But let's scroll back to 6 years ago. I was 57 and had been thinking about gray for a while, having started to go noticeably so in my late 40s and getting tired of having to cover it up every 8 weeks. However, it was not until 2017, buoyed, probably, by Kim Kardashian who showed up at a Tom Ford show with a silver platinum mane, that I decided to actually take the plunge. My colorist, Josh Wood, the superstar responsible for model Kristen McMenamin's waist-length silver locks, was reluctant, warning me that it would make me look older and would take several goes because of all my red undertones. But I was adamant. He was right. It took 3 visits, with a ton of blue titanium rinses in between. It also required a weekly professional blow-dry to look at its best. Don't get me wrong. I was mad for it at first and frankly didn't care a hoot what anyone else thought. It just felt so current every time I caught a glimpse of it in the mirror. And clever, too. Yes, one can be gray-haired and sexy, I thought to myself. And then came lockdown when I didn't have access to a salon for months. Oh dear. There are some pictures of me at my 60th birthday with literally 3 tiered hair, orange or red on the ends, blue-gray in the middle, and then, at the top, dark brunette with lots of wiry white bits sprouting out the top. As Queen Letizia will know, those disobedient gray hairs march to the beat of their own drum. But then, as Josh had warned me, that is the problem with being a dark brunette, wanting to go gray. It requires almost 24/7 maintenance, especially as the gray starts to overtake the brown. Honestly, I looked about 103. It's maddening the way gray hair is such a potent semaphore for old age. Which is fine if you are, say, the magnificent Christine Lagarde, 67-year-old president of the European Central Bank, but I am very much not. Unless it's styled and blow-dried within an inch of its life, gray spells I've given up. It shouldn't be that way, and it doesn't apply to everyone. I adore, for example, how it looks on Meghan Markle's mum, Doria, 66. The 64-year-old actress Andie MacDowell, with her silver ringlets, just about gets away with it, but readers, that's because she's a model as well as an actress. As Josh put it, the gray was way too cold on your skin tone. It looked good when it was blow-dried, but still, it was a too strong, slightly sad color. I know what he means. It ended up draining me, and how I looked eventually had an effect on the way I felt and perhaps the way others reacted to me. I belong to a WhatsApp group called the Hormonal Voyagers, a bunch of good female friends in which I am the oldest but had never felt that way. Well, with the gray hair, suddenly I was the granny of the group. Meanwhile, whether I went to the beauty salon or not, I was offered many more seats on buses and trains than I am now. My 2 sons would never say anything, not because they're diplomatic, but because they don't care one way or another. My younger son's wife, though, noticed, big time, and when I went back to myself she heartily approved, as does, I think, every single one of my friends. It is such a liminal space, that period between 50 to 65, obviously I keep moving the goalposts the older I get. You're neither one thing nor the other. And yet I see too many women, particularly British women, give up before they have to. Glossy chestnut, with not a hint of gray, looks a little ridiculous on a 90-year-old, I agree, but do I want to look my age if I don't have to? Wasn't hair dye actually a key step forward for female empowerment? As Nora Ephron said, it's the most powerful weapon older women have against the youth culture. Obviously, we all want to be our authentic selves, but in today's youth-obsessed world you don't get extra marks for looking exactly the age you are, just as you don't get extra marks for, say, not having an anesthetic for a filling or even an epidural when you give birth. Fighting a battle against the gray by going blonde not only suits my skin color better, but it's also a lot cheaper, needing to be retouched only every 3 months or so, especially if I'm going to be in the sun. And, like I said, I cannot tell you how much my other half prefers it. Queen Laetitia, I feel you. Why should you kowtow to the ageist beauty industry? Indeed, why should any of us? But let's circle back in 18 months or so. You may well feel very differently about the gray by then.